it on. Have it on.
Do you have my necklace?
We're on.
We're on. Oh, okay. I was just asking if Judy has my necklace, which she calls the conference badges.
Yes.
Necklaces. Yeah. So this is the first time we've done this. We're calling it Pass the Mic. So our first try at this, and the idea is just to get a chance to talk to more people who we may not necessarily have the chance to talk to during the course of a conference. And so, Stephen, thanks for joining us. Appreciate it.
It's good to be here.
Stephen, Agile Technology Solutions, correct?
That is correct. So Agile Technology Solutions is an organization within the University of Kansas. So we work with a research institute there to develop software to help them with their projects, their grants and things. Our flagship being one that does testing for the students in Kansas, K through 12, general assessments and such. So
what is the software? It's a general assessment software? That's what it is?
It is an assessment software. Yeah, it's a KITE assessments, and the KITE is a collection of applications that allow people to develop content for testing, to deliver that content to students, and to pull in the results of that and report on it. So
what brings you here?
We have been working with Chef at this particular group, Agile Technology Solutions, for 6 years, and have had a lot of success with success. We recently used our Chef. Our Chef made it very easy for us to move to AWS.
It did?
Yes.
How do you define easy?
Well, yeah, so moving to AWS had a lot of complexity to it, like learning how to set up security and networks and things like that. One thing we really didn't have to worry about in this was how do we configure the EC2 nodes that we're going to create, because we already knew how to take a blank EC2 node and make it run our application. Yeah. So each of the different components of our application were being deployed to EC2 nodes, and so we were able to focus instead of on lifting and shifting, say, our applications from our non-cloud environment, and instead focus on how we could best leverage the cloud. So
tell me about that. When did that migration start?
That migration started in October of last year. We had testing that was coming up early in the spring, and so by the holidays we had to have an initial test environment in AWS. And so within that first couple of months we had established most of what we would need in order to get all of our production into AWS. We spent the next couple of months making sure that we had our production up there and transferred over to AWS, and that all the pieces were in place to keep it secured and monitored.
So what did you establish that? What did you establish what you need? How did you go through that process?
So we knew what we were using, at least, for things, because we'd already been in production for several years. So we knew that there would, say, be a component for load balancing. We knew that there would be components for monitoring those applications. So it was mostly just a matter of learning what those pieces were in AWS, and then modifying what we did just a little bit so that it would fit within that structure.
Mm-hmm. And then you began the deployment after that. And tell me, what for you was the point where you were most concerned about in terms of deploying that, over to AWS? Was it in the transfer of the data? What was it that was what was it about it that made it challenging?
A lot of it was just because we didn't have a chance to really in advance learn as much as we would like about AWS. Most of our concerns were just around what we didn't know.
Right.
We chose AWS though because of certain things that it would be able to provide us that we did know, but didn't really want to worry about, like being able to use RDS for our databases was a big win for us. We aggregate our logs using an Elk Stack, Elasticsearch, and Logstash and Kibana. And so we were able to translate that over into tools that AWS just provides and manages and backs up for you. One of those also was we didn't have to worry about a Chef server because of OpsWorks. Chef Automate was easy for us to deploy. It was in you just basically say you want one, what size you want it to be, and it builds it for you, makes it available. So you started with using AWS. Tell us what the services you started with. In AWS?
Yeah.
First was just carving out the VPC, the network, and establishing the network rules. That was actually a good portion of what we were learning to begin with, was just how do we build a secure network? How do we carve this up to provide some isolation for our production environments and our development and QA environments? Mm-hmm. And so that is pretty much where we started in there. And then from there, it was get AC2 instances in place that provided our application, get the database servers in place that would have our data, and then trying to learn how to tie all of that together. Auto-scaling groups was one thing that we wanted to be able to do as our workload rises and falls seasonally as well as during the day, and so we wanted to be able to reduce those costs in the cloud. So that meant setting up auto-scaling groups, which we didn't think we would be able to do originally, but we're able to work in over time.
So now you're in the management.
Yeah, well, I'm somewhat in the management.
You're just kind of it's kind of like the house that's done, but the tile maybe need to be put in. And
so we successfully went through our first testing season, and in comparison to previous years, we pretty much sailed through. There was a lot of nervousness going into it because of just not having a full understanding of how to predict how this load was going to fall out, how this was going to work for our users. But as we started watching it, we gained greater and greater confidence in what we had deployed, and it just
was that in the experience. Was that in the monitoring then?
Yes, in the monitoring of it, we were monitoring the loads on systems to see how they were performing and how that compared to what we had previously. We did some extensive load testing previous to that, and were able to actually push our loads higher than we could in our on-premises deployment. So we were feeling pretty good after those came through. But when you're load testing, you're not quite sure exactly how that's going to match to real life experience.
What were you using to do the load testing?
Good question. I am spacing the name right now. I have to ask my developers, what was it that you used? We were using an open source tool that generates those sorts of queries and loads on the system. And just right now, that name of that tool is escaping me. So what did you find in that load testing? What were some of the anomalies you started to surface? Well, it was more like what anomalies we didn't see.
Yeah, what you didn't see,
Yeah, because in previous years, there was a tipping point that we would hit, in which case some of our nodes that served up an API for our app, an internal API, would become saturated and fall over, often due to slowdowns in talking to the database. In this case, we were able to size it correctly and didn't run into that. We never we kept going higher, trying to see where we could actually make it fall over. And once we had exceeded our expectations several times over, we were like, okay, we don't know what it will exactly take. We were burning up more CPU trying to push them over than we were actually burning up and answering the queries. So.
And so now you're going to be moving into that management phase.
Yeah, so now it's what can we do to start using more that AWS provides to manage and monitor those systems, and also looking to use more of what Chef Automate can provide, especially in providing auditing of our systems. Like we currently do periodical auditing, and we would like to move that auditing up so that it's continually audited and we know that the systems are secure.
So Chef Automate, have you used it before?
Just didn't use it up until the point that we started to move into AWS, and even there, my experience was with Chef Server, and I just once deployed Chef Automate, I used it like it was Chef Server, and so now that we've made it through that first trial period, or that first period, that production period actually, and we've sailed through that, now it's like, okay, now we want to start looking at what we can do more with Chef Automate.
So what is the difference for you between Chef Server and Chef Automate then?
Currently, there wasn't a lot of difference other than the Chef Server that was provided to us through OpsWorks Chef Automate was automatically backed up. It's automatically updated. So there was less operational need to fuss with that server to keep it up to date and running. So what it will, I believe, look like is that Chef Automate will begin running inspect checks against our infrastructure.
So you'll be running inspect then too.
So that the inspect then will tell us whether or not our systems are in compliance.
How about Habitat then?
Habitat is looking very good for us right now. Once we got to auto scaling groups and we were rebuilding systems, we had that build process was still taking us 15 minutes or so to bring up a new EC2 instance, install Chef on that instance, converge that system, have the application come up, which it was kind of a fun challenge when my developers came to me and said, this is taking too long. And I'm like, 15 minutes? 15 minutes is taking too long? And they're like, yes, we need it to go faster.
Oh, wow.
And so already we're looking at then how do we set up systems so they don't require quite so much configuration. And Docker is high on our list, Kubernetes possibly as well. And providing some uniform way to do that makes it easy for us to package and deliver all of our apps in the same way is a big win for us. And so Habitat, I think, will help us to move more of that automation of the application itself to the development teams, where they can have more control and power over that, as opposed to automation of the configuration of the server, which they don't always care about so much.
Well, Stephen, sounds like you guys are well on your way. What do you want to learn over the next day or so here?
The next day or so here, I am digging into whether or not Habitat's going to be a win for us in Kubernetes. So I'm looking at that. I'm beefing up my knowledge about inspec. Yeah. So
awesome.
Those are the main things. Plus, I'll be talking a little bit about this tomorrow on stage during the keynote. So.
Oh, great. Well, Stephen, what's your last name again?
Stephen Figgins.
Figgins.
Yeah, and that's at SFIGGINS.
Great. Great. Well, Stephen, thank you so much for taking the time to talk with us. You're the first person to be on Pass the Mic, so congratulations.
Right. Now we need to find another person to pass the mic
we actually got someone to pass the mic to. This is the honorary Pass the Mic here.
Come on
down to Pass the Mic.
There you go. Thank you very much.
You're welcome. First Pass the Mic. Anyone want to take a picture of that? Judy, can you get a picture of passing the mic?
Oh,
pass the mic. Let's just do it again.
Statically.
Come on, here we go.
Passing the mic.
This is it.
We'll take it from video, but...
Pass the mic.
Yeah.
All right, great.
There. All right.
How are you?
Good, Alex. How are you?
We met yesterday.
Yes.
Why don't you tell everyone your name and who you're with?
My name is Pradeep Nair. I'm with Relevance Lab.
What's Relevance Lab?
So Relevance Lab is a DevOps automation solutions and services company. We help the organizations out there automate their workflows, the software delivery workflows, and everything that comes along with DevOps and automation, which is helping companies move to the cloud, embrace hybrid infrastructure, adopt various DevOps technologies which are available in the market, configure.
So, how did the company? What's the company's origins? What did it start as?
We started with automation in mind to help the market with automation services
Through solutions.
We come from a previous background of helping ISVs or high-tech companies build products,
Right.
and helping them go from licensing their software to SaaSification, as they call it, going SaaS. And in that process, we learned a lot about how to put the CI/CD and development and deployment tool chains in place. A few of us came out of our previous company and decided to make a business out of this.
Mm-hmm.
And at that time, the DevOps term was just getting coined.
So you guys have been around for a while.
Yes. So
What year was that? It was like 08, 09?
a little later than about 10.
Yeah.
It's just DevOps had just started getting spoken about, and
Yeah.
people had started off.
I remember those early days.
Yeah. And
Do you guys do DevOps days?
yes, we do DevOps days.
Which one? Where's your hometown?
It's San Jose, California.
Okay,
Bay Area.
yeah,
So
yeah.
we are valley guys.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Valley guys. All right.
Yeah.
So how's the DevOps community in the Silicon Valley? Would you say it's just like teeming?
It's thriving, and things come out of the valley.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, things get invented there, but for us, solutions company, there's not much of not a big market out there. So
What is a solutions company anymore? With the cloud services and everything else,
Yeah.
what is a solutions company anymore?
What companies and enterprises out there need is a systems integrator. So solutions is, you can call it a systems integrator or a solutions company. What we do is bring together the different technologies which are out there to help you automate the workflow. And we as a company have built the expertise, having done this for a number of customers of ours. So we know how a build management system needs to be set up. How a build management system needs to be integrated with configuration management. What are the different configurations which need to be automated? How do you move from homegrown way of doing things to a more disciplined configuration management way of things? How do you move workloads onto cloud in a better way? Either you do lift and shift or lift, transform and shift. So which are the different technologies to use? Do you use cloud native technologies, or do you use cloud independent technologies based on the strategy? So bringing all these things together and creating the setup is what.
So what are the patterns showing you about customer behaviors for the adoption of cloud native versus other technologies?
So what we are seeing in the market is as companies get more cloud aware, they definitely want to invest in technologies which are more cloud neutral, cloud agnostic. Initially, they might dabble with some of the offerings given by the cloud provider. For example,
So they want it cloud agnostic.
They want it cloud agnostic.
Because we were just hearing earlier that people think that the cloud agnostic story is a bit of a myth.
As far as possible, they would like to be cloud agnostic, because the multi-cloud way of working is catching on. They don't want to be. Not many, especially large enterprises, don't want it tied to one cloud.
How do you see it catching on?
The multi-cloud.
Just through adoption.
So just through adoption, and also people are embracing the clouds which serve a certain purpose. For example, people go to Google Cloud if they want to do machine learning and big data work more. People are looking at Azure if they are a big SQL shop, and want to put their SQL services there.
AWS,
of course, has got a head start. They're good, they're stable, So that's how they are kind of distributing their workloads across the cloud.
So that's interesting because you have the major resource providers, right?
Yeah.
And they're all kind of building these different services on those resources based upon their own market view.
Yes.
Right.
Absolutely.
Right.
Yeah.
So so in that then so in that then there's this story about how do you map out kind of your the control plane, right? And you were telling me about the software that you guys have recently developed. Can you tell us about that and how that works and how it fits into this story?
Sure. So across our consulting engagements, one observation or one learning that we had is the ops teams were struggling with. There were a lot of these exciting technologies. There was Chef, Puppet, Ansible, but to develop and operate them was becoming a challenge. So there was a need to ease that usage of these tools. Is there an easy way to deploy configurations? Is there an easy way to create an orchestration task which is a combination of different things in your DevOps toolchain? So using those use cases, we built a visual tool which sits on top of the DevOps and the DevOps toolchain out there, and helps the end user, drag and drop and do things much more seamlessly as such. So that's our tool, RL Catalyst, and we not only help we can connect to the cloud providers, we help provision the cloud environments, and then we integrate with configuration management tool like Chef closely, so we can pull in the Chef code and help them deploy the Chef code into the infrastructure.
So tell me about the Chef tool chain that you're using to help these customers migrate.
So we are using Chef Automate, the core Chef engine, which is Chef configuration management, and
not Chef Server.
Chef Server. Yes.
You're using Chef Server and Chef Automate.
Chef, yes.
How do you distinguish the two? I just asked Steven this question.
Okay.
How do you distinguish?
Right now, how the way it is selling is Chef Server is part of Chef Automate's licensing. So you don't really buy Chef Server standalone, unless you're using hosted Chef,
right?
Which is the offering. So you buy the Chef Automate stack, which comes with Chef Automate and the
Chef Server,
the Chef Server, and the various supporting technologies which help you which create a pipeline.
Right.
For your Chef code
right.
development as such.
Right.
So that's Chef Automate and Chef Server are the primary tools that are getting used. Inspec and Chef Compliance, which is integrated, which is another big product offering that we specialize in. Habitat we are getting into it now. We've done some, as we are a close Chef partner. When Habitat was introduced, we did some initial work with Chef, creating plans. So we are fairly Habitat capable as well, and we're excited because in the Valley, there are a lot of semiconductor and networking and storage companies out there, and they want to distribute their software in different packages, and I see Habitat playing an important, could be a very good tool.
You see Habitat?
Yes.
Really?
I see Habitat is a very useful tool to achieve that.
Why not just Kubernetes? Why not?
Yeah.
I mean,
Kubernetes is, end of the day, a container orchestration tool.
Right.
So when you produce a container, Kubernetes can run it.
Right.
But you need an engine which can build your software package and then give you the software package in multiple flavors. As a container, as a VMDK package, or as a VM, or as a tar file, or a MSI build, in different flavors. You might want to distribute it. So some end customer might want a container, and so you ship the container. Or end customer might want a VM image. You can give that. So this is a technology, I think, which can help the ISV community, very much, who ship software as such.
Yeah. Oh, I see.
Yeah.
So they could offer Habitat.
Yes.
to run with their software, and they could use Habitat as the control plane and then Kubernetes would serve what role?
Kubernetes is
the orchestration,
container orchestration.
So like if you want to like build an so if like you're getting started and you're trying to find a way to kind of think through how do you leverage the cloud services, really these resources that are so rich in compute, storage, and networking, you can build through. You have your pipeline. Habitat becomes part of that pipeline, and it serves as that control plane to integrate with Kubernetes, which provides that container support. That container, right.
So, I see Habitat as an extension of something like Jenkins.
Okay. So, do you consider it like a continuous integration and development environment?
Yes, it would fall under the continuous integration and development environment ecosystem.
Okay.
And so it will help you build your product or your application. It will help you package your product, and then it will do the last mile of deploying your product. So that's how we see, and it's fairly exciting.
And so your software then that fits into that is what then?
So we haven't yet.
You haven't released
build.
Okay.
We haven't really worked out how our software is going to work with Habitat.
Yeah.
But I do see our software is the visual medium for these tools.
Okay.
So we hope to fill in that void.
Almost like a Grafana in a way.
Almost like a Grafana.
Right.
Very good analogy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Is your tool open source?
Yes.
It is. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
So we have the tool is open source. We just charge for the support and services.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah.
So once you're seeing customers get up onto Amazon Web Services using, Chef Automate, for example, and perhaps starting to use Habitat, what services on AWS do you see them starting to adopt as they become more mature in their, in their deployments and their management?
Yeah. So every organization has to.
They're all different.
Make a choice. Again, going back to the same point about how much of cloud native resources do you want to use.
Right.
So if you're okay with being tied to AWS, you might want to use their data warehousing tool, Redshift. You might want to use their container management tool, container orchestration tool, ECS service. Their storage services, S3. If their messaging queuing services, SQS. So those are different services that companies their applications start using. If you want to be cloud neutral, then you go with alternate, more open source technologies as such. And we come in and consult on those fronts as well.
Okay.
But it all boils down to, what's the best thing to do for your application and what's the strategy for the company.
So what are you looking for from this conference?
We are constantly, we want to be lockstep with Chef all the time. We are a consulting partner of theirs, so we want our workforce to be well equipped with the latest and greatest as Chef. We want to talk to more Chef customers. We would like to tell stories about what we have done with some in the field with Chef and with some of the other tools which go with Chef. I mentioned a tool like Terraform, from HashiCorp, which glues very well with Chef, and so I'm sure there are companies.
Yeah, Habitat. I'm hearing a lot about Terraform.
Yes. So we want to tell those stories, and hopefully people will sign up for our services. Yeah.
Well, great. Well, thanks so much for taking some time to chat. This has been great. You've been the second guest on Pass the Mic. I think everyone's downstairs at the gaming, having fun playing games down.
Yeah.
It's happy hour. So we should be passing the mic around happy hour, but instead this is the most quiet it's been up here all day. But thanks so much, Rudy. We really appreciate your time.
Thank you, Alex. Thank you.